Hello and welcome to GamerU. Today we're looking at Robocraft tactics so that you and your team can quickly disable or destroy your enemy and win the match. If you watched the other videos from us about Robocraft, you will know how to make the most out of each weapon available to you, and how best to use them against the enemy. But before you even get to attack your first enemy, there is work to do. The first order of business for any match should be the towers. Without any towers, you have no shield, and without any shield, your generator can be hit from range with a variety of weapons. So after you've taken out your first tower, it's time to assess what you're up against. On the HUD you will see symbols next to each enemy, showing you what type of robot they have. A rail, SMG, plasma, and what movement they might have. Wheels, aerofoils, hover, tracks, etc. So next you need to know where and how to hit your opponent, and with what robot from your team. If you come up against an SMG or multiple SMGs, keep your distance. Their close range firepower will cut you to pieces very quickly, and while their long range fire might be powerful, a rail or plasma can make short work of their turrets, so that they are no longer a threat. Don't try and attack an SMG with a light aircraft unless you absolutely must. A single shot from an SMG is accurate enough to hit you and might take off a wing or a rudder, so it's best to leave that up to the ground robots. Plasma-based robots can be very tricky. Spitting out a barrage of 6 plasma blasts at medium to long range, they can often one-shot kill an enemy robot, but their weakness comes from a long reload time and slow projectile speed. Even the finest pilots of plasma robots will have trouble with a fast-moving close-range target, so get your SMG robots to move in close while your plasma and rail-based robots hit it from a distance. Rails can be the bane of an aircraft's existence. With long range and high power, they can knock planes and choppers out of the air with ease. They're also very effective base defense platforms, but they do have some major weaknesses. They're almost useless at moving close-range targets, and often have their rails in an elevated, prominent position which is easy to destroy. So get in close with your SMGs and plasmas, or if you're good enough, hit them from the air with a bomber. Nano disruptors or medics are often targeted before anyone else, and for good reason. A single medic can repair a fallen comrade even before you've destroyed them, often leaving you with 2 enemies when you first faced one. However, medics are often built to move fast and get to the wounded, so they've sacrificed armor to do so. They may not have as much destructive power as an SMG, and their range is amongst the shortest out there, but if you get close enough they will dissect your robot very quickly. So hit them from a range with any of your team and don't allow them to recover their teammates. When facing wheel-based robots, hover robots, or rotor-based robots, they're all very fast-moving blocks, but they also suffer from very low health, especially in the case of rotors being very exposed with no additional protection. So when hitting a robot with these systems, try and hit their movement blocks first, rather than aiming for the center of the robot. A robot unable to move is a far easier target than a slightly damaged one that can retreat. Tracks are built to be very resilient to enemy fire, so don't try and take them out first unless you're using a railgun, as by the time you've taken out one of their tracks, you will have been taken out too. Aerofoils are easy targets for rails and SMGs, but next to impossible to hit with the plasma or nano disruptor weapons. Even taking out one wing will often send your enemy spiraling to the ground, so if you're using a rail or an SMG, aim for the wings rather than the robot itself. It's also important to note that sticking in a diverse group of robots will allow you to tackle most obstacles that come your way. A fragmented team will often be picked off one by one and not be effective. So use each other's strengths and cover each other's weaknesses and stick together, and the match will be yours. So head out there and win your match. Tune in to GamerU for more tips, tricks and tutorials.